I am too intelligent, too demanding, and too resourceful for anyone to be able to take charge of me entirely. No one knows me or loves me completely. I have only myself. She was ready to deny the existence of space and time, rather than admit that love might not be eternal. I am incapable of conceiving infinity, and yet I do not accept finity. I want this adventure that is the context of my life to go on without end. One's life has value, so long as one attributes value to the life of others. One is not born, but rather becomes, a woman. When I was a child, when I was an adolescent, books saved me from despair, that convinced me that culture was the highest of values. In itself, homosexuality is as limiting as heterosexuality. The ideal should be to be capable of loving a woman or a man, either, a human being, without feeling fear, restraint, or obligation. That's what I consider true generosity. You give your all, and yet you always feel as if it costs you nothing. Her wings are cut, and then she is blamed for not knowing how to fly. A man attaches himself to woman, not to enjoy her, but to enjoy himself. To lose confidence in one's body is to lose confidence in oneself. No one is more arrogant toward women, more aggressive or scornful, than the man who is anxious about his virility. What an odd thing a diary is. The things you omit are more important than those you put in. One's life has value so long as one attributes value to the life of others, by means of love, friendship, and compassion. Man is defined as a human being and a woman as a female. Whenever she behaves as a human being, she is said to imitate the male. All oppression creates a state of war, and this is no exception. I tore myself away from the safe comfort of certainties through my love for truth, and truth rewarded me. I was made for another planet altogether. I mistook the way. Few tasks are more like the torture of Sisyphus than housework. With its endless repetition, the clean becomes soiled. The soiled is made clean, over and over, day after day. Representation of the world, like the world itself, is the work of men. They describe it from their own point of view, which they confuse with absolute truth. The body is not a thing, it is a situation. It is our grasp on the world and our sketch of our project. If you live long enough, you'll see that every victory turns into a defeat. If the feminine issue is so absurd, it's because the male's arrogance made it a discussion. Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now, without delay. I wish that every human life might be pure, transparent freedom. Two separate beings, in different circumstances, face to face in freedom and seeking justification of their existence through one another, will always live an adventure full of risk and promise. Sex pleasure in women is a kind of magic spell. It demands complete abandon. If words or movements oppose the magic of caresses, the spell is broken. The point is not for women simply to take power out of men's hands, since that wouldn't change anything about the world. It's a question precisely of destroying that notion of power. Women's mutual understanding comes from the fact that they identify themselves with each other, but for the same reason. Each is against the others. There is something in the New York air that makes sleep useless. I could see no reason for being sad. It's just that it makes me unhappy not to feel happy. To abstain from politics is in itself a political attitude. Because we are separated, everything separates us, even our efforts to join each other. Today, however, we are having a hard time living because we are so bent on outwitting death. Why one man rather than another? It was odd. You find yourself involved with a fellow for life, just because he was the one that you met when you were 19. But all day long I would be training myself to think, to understand, to criticize, to know myself. I was seeking for the absolute truth. This preoccupation did not exactly encourage polite conversation. Some things I loved have vanished. A great many others have been given to me. Even if one is neither vain nor self-obsessed, it is so extraordinary to be oneself, exactly oneself and no one else, and so unique, that it seems natural that one should also be unique for someone else. And without a doubt it is more comfortable to endure blind bondage than to work for one's liberation. The dead, too, are better suited to the earth than the living. One is not born a genius, one becomes a genius. And the feminine situation has up to the present rendered this becoming practically impossible. A day in which I don't write leaves a taste of ashes. To be oneself, simply oneself, is so amazing and utterly unique an experience that it's hard to convince oneself so singular a thing happens to everybody. Self-consciousness is not knowledge, but a story one tells about oneself. It is so tiring to hate someone you love. Counseling man to treat her as a slave while persuading her that she is a queen. I love you, with a touch of tragedy and quite madly. Tragedies are all right for a while. You are concerned, you are curious, you feel good. And then it gets repetitive, it doesn't advance, it grows dreadfully boring. It is so very boring, even for me. It is perfectly natural for the future woman to feel indignant at the limitations posed upon her by her sex. The real question is not why she should reject them. The problem is rather to understand why she accepts them. The word love has by no means the same sense for both sexes, and this is one cause of the serious misunderstandings that divide them. Youth and what the Italians so prettily call stamina. The vigor, the fire, that enables you to love and create. When you've lost that, you've lost everything. People seem to think that if you keep your head empty, you automatically fill your balls. Oppression tries to defend itself by its utility. What is an adult? A child blown up by age. Woman is shut up in a kitchen or in a boudoir, and astonishment is expressed that her horizon is limited. Her wings are clipped, and it is found deplorable that she cannot fly. Let but the future be open to her, and she will no longer be compelled to linger in the present. She offered her mouth to him, as if enchanted. A Persian princess, a little Indian, a fox, a morning glory, a lovely wisteria. It always pleased them when you told them they looked like something else. Self-knowledge is no guarantee of happiness, but it is on the side of happiness and can supply the courage to fight for it. As long as there have been men and they have lived, they have all felt this tragic ambiguity of their condition. But as long as there have been philosophers and they have thought, most of them have tried to mask it. The body is the instrument of our hold on the world. All the opportunities you let slip by. The idea, the inspiration just doesn't come fast enough. Instead of being open, you're closed up tight. That's the worst sin of all, the sin of omission.